Hi, everyone. I'm Venusa from VenusaScarlet.com, and today we are here with Dr. Jeff Gardere. Thank you so much, Dr. Jeff, for joining us today. So, we're going to be speaking about healthy relationships in 2017. So, it's going to be the new year, and everyone's making all these New Year's resolutions, and intimate relationships are very important. So, can you just kind of tell us what you think a healthy relationship consists of in terms of if you're with your spouse, your husband, wife, your partner, what should you look for in a healthy relationship?
Well, a healthy relationship, in my estimation, is a union between two people who support one another, who come together to not only be an equation of 1 plus 1 equals 2, but 1 plus 1 equals 3. In other words, they bring what they both may have strengths in to be able to grow the relationship, grow their financial situation, grow their happiness, and build something that is very strong so that they can face the world together, but also be happy at home and find comfort and joy in one another.
Why do oftentimes men not want to commit? That's an age old question.
Well, I don't know whether it's men not wanting to commit so much because I see that there are a lot of men out there who are looking for relationships, but they're afraid. They're very fearful, and men do not express themselves, do not tap into their more emotional side in the way that women have been socialized to do so. So men have a deficit there. So I think that more than anything else, they're afraid of being hurt. Women get hurt all the time. They deal with it. They move on for the most part. But when a man gets hurt, he's afraid to cry. He's afraid to talk about it. And so he may get involved in very destructive types of practices. As they say, men don't heal, they hoe. So they may get involved in other types of relationships, more promiscuous, perhaps drinking, drugs, or get into that mindset that the woman is the enemy, and because of that original hurt, that they are not going to commit to a relationship because they don't want to be hurt that way again. They don't want to feel like a chump.
Why do good girls love bad guys?
Well, we're jumping all over the map here. I think I think it's much more complex than just good girls, liking or loving bad guys. Because sometimes even the bad guys, there are some good traits about them. And I don't believe, for the most part, that people are bad. I think intrinsically, I think most people, almost all people are born good, and certain things happen to them. So even if someone has a dark heart, it's not so much because they're evil, it's because of the emotional pain that they've experienced. A good girl who is only interested in bad boys may be that she has very low self-esteem. Maybe she feels that she doesn't deserve anything better, and only a bad boy will give her the type of attention that she wants, though we know that usually bad boys don't commit emotionally, right. They commit physically. And it could also be, and I've seen this, where sometimes we raise our young girls, our girls and our young women with so many restrictions that the discipline is so tough, it's so strong, right. And certainly we don't do the same thing with their brothers. We allow their brothers to stay out late, but the girls have to be home early, right. Which I understand, right. But to some degree. However, when you really cramp down, on a young woman and don't allow her any freedoms, when she sees that bad boy who offers everything that she's always wanted to have and was not allowed to have, sometimes she may lose her bearings, she may lose her center, and feel that this is the person who's going to bring her the excitement that she's always wanted.
What is your opinion about online dating?
Well, certainly online dating provides a resource for people who are not meeting prospective suitors, if the generation knows what that means. That means folks who you might be attracted to you in your particular social circle. And I think for that reason alone, it certainly opens up the possibilities of meeting people in other places, other areas. Let's face it, we have a generation where, unlike my generation, where we actually use something called a telephone. Hello, hello. Not necessarily this kind of telephone. Though every Haitian family I knew had a princess telephone. Look that one up. But because we are Haitian.
Yes, we are.
Yes. But let's face it, with this generation, it really is about doing things online, communicating online. I know a lot of folks don't use their cell phones to talk to one another through voice, and they text more than anything else. So it just goes along with this whole process of using the internet to live by. And in some ways, that's really a great thing because it's an incredible power. But in some other ways, it's also a little bit disconcerting in that sometimes the old-fashioned ways work very, very well. Some of the statistics show that some of the best places to meet someone would be, for example, where you go to school, perhaps where you work, though you should be careful of dating people that you work with, but folks that you have exposure to on a daily basis that you really get to know versus someone who's online who they send out their representative, just the best in that individual, and you don't get to see, the warts and all, if you will, of that particular person online. So online just gives you a particular perspective, but meeting people, being introduced to someone in that way, certainly, I think, gives it a little bit more legitimacy. But online dating is an incredible tool. I think we have to be careful to not get into the prejudice of just because we don't need online dating, that doesn't mean that people who do online dating are desperate or or nerds or can't meet someone. Online dating is a very powerful tool, and there are people out there who are meeting folks face to face and meeting people online. But along with online dating comes a lot of dangers too.
Right, so you definitely have to be careful when you're meeting people on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. Where do you find your husband or wife in 2017?
Well, I would say the first thing that you need to do, and I know this sounds really preachy, but don't look for a husband or a wife or a partner to begin with. The first thing that you need to look for is someone that you can talk to, someone who can listen to you, someone who can be a friend, someone who you're attracted to, not just physically, but certainly emotionally, and someone who has the potential to be a partner. You have to be willing to give love in order to get love. And you have to be open to experiences of friendship and of trust. And you have to learn to love yourself first, because finding a husband or a wife or a partner is not going to be the panacea. It's not going to be, the answer to all of your ills, the solution to all of your problems. You need to have your act together first in order to be in a healthy relationship. You need to be healthy first. If you get into something right away, though some relationships, they click right away, but with others, when you really don't know that person, it could turn into a real problem because, for Haitian people who say, chat qui trop pressé fait petit GPT, meaning that if you get involved with someone right away, very loose translation, but it could be a disaster.
If you get into a relationship with someone and your family absolutely hates that person, and with good reason, they possibly were very abusive to you in the past, or maybe they have done things that were not very favorable and your family was privy to that. How do you, as the person who's in that relationship, deal with that type of environment? Because you love your family and you love your significant other, but you are looking to have some type of happy medium, how do you approach a situation like that?
Well, I would say it's not just family who may say something, it's also your very good friends too, right? So family or friends. When one person tells you that the person you hooked up with is a bit of a jerk, it could be that that person is jealous. You know, they really want that person. If you
Right.
hear it from a second person that the person you're dating is a jerk, well, maybe it's coincidence. If you hear it a third time, you better start paying attention. Okay, because people are actually seeing something, they're much more objective, while you're subjective and in love and can't see straight.
Right.
They probably are seeing something that may be destructive or really wrong with that person. So now, should you kick that person to the curb? In some cases, yes, but you know that you're not going to, because the more they say no, you're going to be saying yes, right? You can always give, in this case, if it's a guy, him the opportunity to show that they're wrong. Let him prove in deeds, not words, in deeds and in actions, and the way that he treats you. But certainly, if there is someone who was already verbally abusive or physically abusive, and that is the beginning of your relationship, chances are, though therapy can help and it can make it better, chances are, I would say, make like a tree and leave,
Right.
and make like Mercury and run.
Next time, join us with Dr. Gardere on self-love.